Part 1, DNA test results. Hey Reddit. I've been lurking here forever but never thought I'd actually post something. I read those long wild stories on here that make you feel like you're living inside someone else's skin for a while, and I always thought, nah, my life is boring, I don't have that kind of material. Well, plot twist. Because apparently my life is way less boring than I thought and also way more confusing. So here's the deal. I, 28M, did one of those consumer DNA kits earlier this year. You know the type, Ancestry, 23andMe, MyHeritage, those things you order when you're bored or your girlfriend keeps sending you TikToks about people finding long-lost cousins, or you just want to prove to your buddy that you actually do have Viking blood somewhere up the line. That was basically my motivation. My girlfriend, let's call her Sarah, 27F, got me one of the kits for Christmas. We'd both been kind of obsessed with genealogy rabbit holes, and she thought it'd be fun to compare our results. Cute couple thing, right? First it was. I spit in the tube, sent it off and forgot about it. Fast forward a few weeks, I get the notification, your results are ready. I log in, expecting the usual stuff. 30% Irish, 20% German, maybe some Scandinavian. My family's always been very straightforward about where we come from. My dad, or, yeah, we'll get to that, is Mr. Our ancestors came here on the boat in the 1800s guy. He loves his heritage. He's the kind of guy who wears a kilt to a Renaissance fair even though he's not Scottish. He has our family crest tattooed on his arm. You get the picture. But the results didn't look like that at all. The ethnicity breakdown was weird enough. Like less Irish than I thought, more Southern European than anyone ever mentioned. But then there was the family matches tab. That's where the floor fell out. Because my dad wasn't showing up. Like not even a little. Not as a parent, not as a close family match. Not even as a distant cousin. Nothing. At first I thought it was some glitch. I actually laughed and texted Sarah. Me, apparently my dad's not my dad? Guess I'm adopted and no one told me. Sarah, wait, what? Are you serious? Me, nah, it has to be a mistake. These things aren't 100%. But then I dug deeper. The site gave me a list of relatives I'd never heard of before. A couple first cousins I didn't recognize, some half-siblings, which, what? And a name under close family that I didn't know at all. And my dad, who I've lived with my entire life, who raised me, who taught me how to ride a bike, who yelled at me when I got caught sneaking beer into my room in high school, wasn't there. That's when my stomach actually dropped. Because glitches don't usually generate entirely new relatives out of thin air. So I did what anyone would do. I panicked, closed the app and tried to pretend it didn't exist. For a while I succeeded. I didn't say anything to my parents. Didn't bring it up with Sarah except for jokes. Like, me, guess I'm the milkman's kid. Her, are you sure you're okay? But every night I'd find myself opening the app again. Clicking through the names. Staring at the close family guy's profile. His name was Tom. Age 55. Location, same state as me. Estimated relationship, parent/child. That parent/child label hit me like a truck. I googled the accuracy of these things. I read forum posts. I read horror stories. Kids finding out their dad wasn't their biological dad, parents keeping secrets for decades, marriages imploding after a $99 test kit showed up under the Christmas tree. And the thing is, it started to line up. I don't look that much like my dad. People always say I have my mom's eyes. My hair's darker. My build's different. I always assumed genetics were just a lottery. But then I remembered overhearing my grandma once. She said something to my mom at a family barbecue when she thought I wasn't listening. Something like, well, at least he looks a little like you. And my mom gave her this sharp look like, shut up right now. At the time I brushed it off. But now, yeah. So I dug into Tom. The DNA site doesn't give a ton of personal info, but you can sometimes piece things together. He had a semi-public profile, enough to tell he lived about 40 minutes away. His profile picture? A grainy fishing photo, baseball cap pulled low. But his face. His face looked like mine. It was like seeing an older version of myself. Same jawline. Same weird eyebrow quirk. I felt sick. I couldn't keep it in anymore, so one night at dinner I blurted it out. Me, hey, funny story, you know those DNA kits? Mine says dad isn't my dad. I meant it as a joke, kind of testing the waters. My mom froze. Fork halfway to her mouth. My dad laughed. Like really laughed. Dad, huh? Those things are scams. Don't waste your money on that crap. But my mom didn't laugh. She set her fork down very carefully, like it was suddenly made of glass. Mom. She smiled, but it was the kind of smile that makes your blood go cold. Mom, sweetheart, you know those websites get it wrong all the time. Don't put stock in them. Except she wouldn't look me in the eye. That was the moment I knew. I didn't push it right then. My dad seemed totally unfazed, like he honestly didn't believe it could be true. But my mom, she knew. Later that night, Sarah asked how dinner went. I told her everything. She just hugged me and said, "Babe, you need answers. You can't sit on this forever." He was right. So I messaged Tom. Just a simple, awkward message. "Hi, you don't know me, but our DNA results say we're closely related. Do you know how that might be possible?" He replied the next day. And his reply was short. Too short. "Yes. Think I do. Maybe we should meet in person." And that's where I'm at. I haven't told my dad. I don't know if I can. My mom's avoiding me whenever I bring it up. And Tom, the man who might be my actual biological father, wants to meet. Reddit, I don't even know what to do right now. My entire life feels like it's been cracked open. Do I meet him? Do I push my mom for the truth? Do I tell my dad? I feel like whatever I do next is going to blow my whole family apart. Part 2. Meeting Tom. Hey Reddit, back again with an update. First of all, holy hell. I did not expect part 1 to blow up like that. I posted it half thinking no one would even read the wall of text, and suddenly I had thousands of people commenting, demang, and basically playing armchair therapists / family counselors for me. I read as many as I could and I just want to say, thank you. Really. A lot of you told me not to sit on this forever, to rip the band-aid, to protect myself emotionally but also demand answers. And, yeah. That's exactly what I needed to hear. So here's what happened. After Tom, potential bio dad, messaged me back with that "we should meet in person" line, I sat there staring at my phone for what felt like hours. My heart was pounding, palms sweaty, knees weak, etc. Yes, I just quoted Eminem about meeting my maybe father. Welcome to my life. Sarah, my girlfriend, was sitting next to me on the couch. She saw my face and asked, "Is that him?" I just handed her the phone. She read the message, raised her eyebrows and said, "Well, guess you're meeting him." Like it was that simple. I don't even know if I should. What do I say? Do I go alone? Do I tell my parents first? Sarah, babe, you've been spiraling for weeks. You won't sleep until you do this. I'll come with you. And that was that. I sent him back a message. Okay. When and where? We settled on a neutral place. A coffee shop about halfway between us. Public, casual, low stakes. The night before I barely slept. My brain wouldn't shut up. I kept picturing walking in and seeing a mirror image of myself 25 years older. I kept thinking about my dad, the man who raised me, who didn't deserve to be blindsided like this. I kept hearing my mom's fake smile at dinner when I brought it up. By the time we pulled into the coffee shop parking lot, I felt like I was going to throw up. Sarah squeezed my hand. "You got this." Inside, it was one of those cozy indie coffee shops with too many plants and mismatched chairs. I scanned the room, heart hammering. And then I saw him. Tom. He was sitting in the corner, baseball cap off this time. And holy shit. It was like looking at a time machine. Same jawline, same nose, same way his eyebrows arched a little higher on one side. He looked up, saw me, and froze. His mouth actually fell open a little, like, oh. We walked over. Tom. Him, yeah. "You must be my name." His voice even sounded like mine. Deeper, raspier, but same cadence. I sat down across from him. Sarah sat next to me, giving me moral support but staying quiet. We stared at each other for a long second. Finally I blurted, "So, I guess you're my father." He winced. "Tom, I think so, yeah." And just like that, my world tilted. We talked for over an hour. I'll try to sum it up, but it was a mess of half answers and long silences. According to Tom, he and my mom had a thing back in the day. It wasn't a long-term relationship. More like a fling. He didn't know she was with someone else, my dad. He said he had no idea she got pregnant. He only found out now through the DNA site, same as me. I asked him point blank, "Are you sure? Like 100% sure?" He nodded slowly. "Son, look at us. And the DNA doesn't lie." Son. Hearing that word from his mouth made me flinch. It felt wrong. Like putting on clothes that didn't fit. He told me about his life. He works in construction. Divorced. 2 adult kids of his own, which means, surprise, I have half-siblings I never knew about. He seemed normal. Nervous but not a bad guy. The whole time I couldn't stop thinking, why the hell did my mom never tell me? Why did she let Dad raise me all these years without knowing the truth? Did she think it didn't matter? Did she think I'd never find out? When we finally left, Tom shook my hand. He held it too long, like he didn't want to let go. Tom, I'd like to stay in touch. If you're okay with that. I mumbled something like, yeah, maybe. My head was buzzing too much to commit to anything. Back in the car, Sarah asked, so, how do you feel? I laughed. It came out harsh and shaky. Like I just met a ghost. The next few days were a blur. I kept replaying the conversation in my head. I stalked Tom's Facebook, of course I did. His kids, my half-siblings, look weirdly like me. Same smile, same chin. It was surreal. Meanwhile, at home things got tense. My mom kept avoiding eye contact. My dad stayed cheerful and oblivious. Every time I looked at him, guilt punched me in the stomach. He has no idea. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I cornered my mom in the kitchen. We need to talk. Mom, about what? Me, about Tom. Her face went white. Mom, you met him. Not a question. A statement. Me, so it's true. She closed her eyes and leaned against the counter like she'd been holding up a heavy weight for years. Mom, yes. It's true. Your dad isn't your biological father. Even though I knew, hearing her say it out loud still cracked me open. Me, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell him? He started crying. Real ugly crying. Mom, because he loves you. Because he's your father in every way that matters. Because I was young and stupid and scared, and when I found out I was pregnant, he was there. He wanted to marry me, he wanted to be your dad. And I thought it didn't matter whose DNA you had. I thought I could bury it forever. I just stood there, fists clenched, heart breaking. Me, you let him live a lie. She whispered, I know. And I hate myself for it. I didn't know what to say. I just walked out. Now I'm stuck. On one hand, I understand her logic. My dad is my dad in every way that counts. He raised me. He sacrificed for me. He's the reason I know how to throw a baseball, change a tire, cook a halfway decent steak. But on the other hand, it feels like my whole life has been built on a secret. And I don't know if I can look at my mom the same way again. And then there's Tom. He keeps messaging me. Nothing pushy, just little things. Hope you're doing okay. I'd like to introduce you to your siblings sometime. Part of me is curious. Part of me wants to slam the door shut and never think about him again. And looming over all of this is my dad. The man who still doesn't know. The man who deserves the truth, but also doesn't deserve the pain it'll cause. I'm torn in half. Sarah keeps saying, you can't carry this secret forever. It'll eat you alive. And she's right. But every time I imagine sitting down with my dad and saying the words, I feel sick. I don't know what the right move is here. Do I protect him? Or do I tell him and risk destroying his marriage, his entire reality, his pride in raising me? And the wildest part? I think my mom is more afraid of me telling him than I am. Every time I bring it up, she begs, please, don't. It will ruin everything. So yeah, that's where I'm at now. I met Tom. My mom confessed. My dad is still in the dark. And I have no idea what my next move is. Part 3, the truth comes out. Hey Reddit, me again. When I posted part 1, I thought maybe a handful of people would skim it and move on. Then it blew up. Part 2. Same thing. And now here we are, the last chapter, I think. And my life feels like some kind of serialized drama that I can't fast forward through. I guess the best way to do this is just to tell you what happened next, no skipping, no sugarcoating. Yeah. The truth is out. After I posted last time, I was stuck in this awful limbo. My mom had confessed, Tom was messaging me, Sarah was begging me not to implode from bottling it all up. But my dad? He was still living in blissful ignorance, grilling steaks in the backyard, calling me champ, asking if I wanted to borrow his drill. Every time he smiled at me, I felt like I was punching him in the face just by keeping the secret. Finally, one night, it all broke. It wasn't planned. I wish I could tell you I set up some big family meeting or at least prepared a script. Nope. It was messy and human and awful. We were sitting in the living room. Dad was watching football. Mom was knitting, she only knits when she's stressed. Our house is basically a yarn factory right now. I was scrolling my phone, pretending to laugh at memes but actually rereading Tom's last message. Your sister wants to meet you. No pressure. And then Dad, totally casual, said, so, son, did that DNA site ever fix their mistake? I froze. Mom froze. The room went ice cold. Me, no. It wasn't a mistake. Dad muted the TV. He looked at me. Then at Mom. Back at me. Dad, what do you mean? My mouth was dry as sandpaper. But the words tumbled out anyway. Me, Dad, you're not my biological father. Silence. Just the hum of the fridge in the kitchen. Mom whispered, please don't. But it was too late. Dad, what? His voice cracked on the word. That's when I knew this was going to break him. I tried to soften it. I told him about the DNA results. About meeting Tom. About how none of it changes the fact that he raised me, that he's my real dad in every way that matters. I said all the things I thought might cushion the blow. But he wasn't hearing any of it. He turned to Mom. Dad, is this true? Mom was sobbing before he even finished the question. Mom, yes. And just like that, 40 years of marriage cracked in half. He stood up so fast his chair fell over. He didn't yell at first. That almost made it worse. His voice was quiet, shaking. Dad, all these years? You let me believe. Mom, I thought it didn't matter. You love him, he's your son, it doesn't matter. Dad, it matters to me. I'll never forget the way he said it. Like his whole world had just been ripped out of his chest. He stormed out. Slammed the door so hard the picture frames rattled. Mom collapsed on the couch, sobbing. I just sat there, numb, hating myself for being the grenade that went off in the middle of our family. The days after that were hell. Dad didn't come home the first night. Or the second. Mom called his phone nonstop. No answer. I thought maybe he was at a motel, maybe with a friend. I half expected the police to show up at our door. When he finally came back, he looked older. Like he'd aged 10 years in 3 days. He didn't talk to Mom. Barely looked at her. But he did pull me aside. Dad, listen. I need you to understand something. You're my son. Always will be. That will never change. I almost cried right there. But then he added. Dad, but your mother. I don't know if I can forgive her. And honestly, I don't blame him. Since then things have been messy. Therapy has been mentioned. Separation papers have been threatened. My mom keeps trying to apologize but my dad won't hear it. He sleeps in the guest room. They barely speak. The house feels like a war zone. As for me, I feel caught in the middle. Like I'm holding two magnets that keep trying to fly apart. And then there's Tom. I kept putting him off but curiosity finally got the better of me. I agreed to meet my half-siblings. We met at a diner. They were shockingly normal. My sister, 25F, hugged me like we'd known each other forever. My brother, 22M, cracked jokes the whole time. They said they'd always wanted another sibling and that I completed the set. Part of me felt warm. Like maybe I wasn't losing a family, I was gaining one. But another part of me felt like I was betraying my dad just by sitting there. Because here's the thing. Biology doesn't erase 28 years of bedtime stories, scraped knees, driving lessons, college bills. That's Dad. The man who raised me. Not Tom. It's complicated. I wish I could tell you everything wrapped up neatly. That my parents had a big heart-to-heart and decided love conquers all. That Dad forgave Mom. That I figured out how to balance two fathers without guilt. But this isn't a movie. Right now my parents' marriage is hanging by a thread. Dad still won't talk to Mom beyond logistics. Tom wants to be part of my life, but I don't know how much space I can give him without hurting the man who raised me. I'm in therapy now trying to untangle the knot in my chest. If there's one thing I've learned through this, it's that secrets don't stay buried. Not forever. They have a way of clawing their way out even decades later, even with a $99 DNA kit. And when they do, the fallout is brutal. So yeah, that's the update. That's the end, at least for now. I don't know if my parents will make it. I don't know if I'll ever call Tom Dad. I don't know if the knot in my chest will ever really go away. But I do know this. The man who raised me is my father. Full stop. DNA doesn't change that. And if you take anything from this story, let it be this. If you're hiding something this big from your family, don't wait for a spit-in-a-tube kit to expose it. Tell the truth. Rip the Band-Aid. Because the longer you wait, the deeper the wound. Thanks for listening, Reddit. Really. Writing this out, knowing thousands of strangers are reading, has weirdly helped me breathe a little easier. And if you're ever tempted to buy one of those DNA kits as a fun gift, maybe think twice. Because sometimes the truth is way messier than you bargained for.